which means nothing. I may speak quickly, but I'll try to be brief. If you have your Bible, turn with me to Mark chapter 4, Ethan. Mark chapter 4, start with verse 35. I'm going to talk to you for a little bit about exactly how to say it. I'll talk to you for a little bit tonight about faith. I know that's something that we always talk about in church. And I heard a preacher preaching the other day, and he said that he was in a class and they asked, what is the opposite of faith? And he said, someone yelled out, fear! No, that's not it. Sight, walk by faith, not by sight. No, that's not it. He said, the opposite of faith is complacency. You know what's going to happen. You don't have to have any faith. You know what's going to happen today from day to day to day, and you don't have to have faith in God. You don't have to have faith because you don't really stretch yourself. Amen, Brother Jack. And so Mark chapter 4, verse 35, I'm going to read a couple of things to you. We're going to talk about a few things, and I'm going to cut you loose and let you get out of here and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. But I want to talk to you about faith for a moment. What it is and what it is not. I talked about being on assignment. I'm on assignment. I'm not here just to be the preacher. I don't like being treated like the preacher. I don't like that. I'm on assignment here. God has given me an assignment, and what gets me off of my assignment is when I start looking at what I'm not doing instead of what I am supposed to be doing. Amen. Are you with me?
Yes.
35 says, on the same day when evening had come, he said, let us cross over to the other side. And when they had left the multitude, they took him along in a boat as he was. And other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that it was already filling. But he was in the stern asleep on a pillow. And they awoke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? And he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? They feared exceedingly and said one to another, Who can this be that even the wind and the sea obey him? Can you pray with me for a minute? Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for another opportunity to be in this house today. I thank you for another chance to speak on behalf of your word. I thank you for another opportunity to talk to your people about you. I ask, God, that you help me to be the best that I can be for you today and tomorrow and for the rest of my life. But for the next 45 minutes to 30 minutes, God, I ask that you help me to be the best speaker that I can be for you. And Father, I give you praise and honor. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. And everybody said, Amen. It's a very familiar passage of Scripture. How many have ever read this Scripture? These 5 Scriptures, you know them. You learned them in Sunday school because you got a little boat, and you got winds and waves, and you got all that stuff going on. And so we all learned it in Sunday school. I went to Sunday school. But I want to get across to you a few things, and I want you to pay attention to me. I want you to look at me and pay attention. I want you to lean in. Remember we talked about leaning in. You really want to listen if you lean in. Get your good ear toward me. Amen? It says, on the same day when evening had come, he said to them, this is Jesus speaking to who? The disciples. He said, let us cross over to the other side. That was their assignment. They had no other assignment but crossing over. They didn't know they were supposed to do anything else but cross over to the other side. That was the assignment. So many times we want this big ordeal. We want this big, wonderful assignment. Oh, goest thou forth, cross over, and winneth the world. That's not what he said. He said, let us cross over to the other side. Simple assignment, easy, right? Should have been, right? Yeah. But let's give the disciples a break. They didn't have Mark chapter 4 to read. They didn't have Mark chapter 5 to read. And they didn't have Mark chapter 6 to read. They were living Mark chapter 4. Yeah. And they were sitting in a boat with a bunch of other little boats animals. And Jesus spoke to them and said, let us go to the other side. Cross the other side. Now when they had left the multitude, they took him along in the boat as he was. And the other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that it was already filling. But he was in the stern asleep on a pillow. And they awoke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? And I love this. He arose and rebuked the wind and the sea. Peace be still. Peace be still. Yeah. And said, and the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. But he said to them, why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? And they feared exceedingly and said one to another, who can this be that even the wind and the waves obey him? Be with me. Focus in with me, right? What was their assignment?
Go to the other side.
Oh, they weren't weathermen? They were supposed to, their assignment was not what are the waves doing? Their assignment was not what is the wind doing? Their assignment was not how much water was in the boat. Their assignment was simply to go to the other side. When we get distracted is when we miss our assignment. Come on now. When we get distracted, when we start looking at the waves that are beating against the ship, we get distracted. When we see all the water in the boat, we get distracted. When we see the wind, we feel the wind blowing, and we see the effects of the wind, we get distracted. When we see the other little boats with us, we get distracted. When we see that Jesus is asleep on the back of the boat, we get distracted. That was not their job. Their job was not to be weathermen, nor was it to be the commander of all the little ships. It was not to be any of those things. They were simply to take Jesus from this side to that side. I can tell y'all with me today. So I want to share with you that our faith comes by this, by knowing what our assignment is. What is your assignment today? What are you supposed to be doing for God today? Well, I don't know, Brother Jeff. I don't know what my assignment is today. Listen, let me share what your assignment is today. The last thing God spoke to your life, the last thing He spoke into your life, that is your assignment. What is it He's asked you to do? What does He ask you to go? Where does He ask you to go? What does He ask you to touch and be and feel? What does He ask you to do? Has He told you to go to the other side? Or has He told you to stay here? Has He told you to be the bailer of the water? Has He told you to be the keeper of the pillow that He can sleep? What has He asked you to do? Where has He asked you to be? What is He asking you to do right now? Evidently, say nothing and look cross-eyed at me. Come on. I don't know what it is that God has to do. He's given us everything possible to fulfill what it is He's asked us to do. He's done everything He can. He's talked to us. He's done everything we know to do. He's given us everything. And sometimes we get looking so much at the waves, we forget we have an assignment. The waves become more important than the assignment. The wind blowing is stronger than the assignment. Yes. The feeling that Jesus doesn't care is more important than the assignment. Everybody else's business is more important than the assignment. The little ships. There's another account of it that says they were rowing against the wind. Yeah. Can I share with you that the enemy knows that you have an assignment? And if he can get your eyes off of your assignment and wear you out by doing all these other things that you're supposed to be doing, by the time you get to the shore, you don't have any strength left to fulfill the assignment. You don't have anything left to do. But see, Jesus was sleeping because He had an assignment. He wasn't fearful. He wasn't scared. He wasn't standing. He wasn't out walking the deck saying, I don't know what we're going to do. The wind's blowing hard. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to sink. We're going to sink. He was sleeping because he needed to sleep and have some rest because he was about to encounter a demonic that nobody could chain up. He cut himself. He lived in the tombs. He would constantly run off. And everybody was scared of him. Yeah. Jesus was about to encounter a devil that he had to have strength to encounter. Jesus did not say, hopefully we'll make it to the other side. He said, simply, let's go to the other side. In Mark chapter 6, starting with verse 34. I hope that you guys are with me today. I hope you're tracking with me okay. But Jesus, when he came out, saw a great multitude. And he was moved with compassion for them because they were like sheep, not having a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things. This is after the demonic, this is after the pigs, this is after they were more worried about the pigs than the people. It was after all these things. It was after the demonic had been delivered and set free and then became this great evangelist in the world, in that part of the world. He was preaching about what Jesus did for him. It was long after that that Jesus was tired. And Jesus went on the other side. He said, let's go to the other side. And so after that, he had great compassion because the people saw where Jesus was going to go. And they chased after him. And when he came out of the ship, he saw people that he was already tired and said, okay, let's do this again. Jesus' flesh got tired. I know we think of Jesus as Jesus, who never got tired, who never slept. But there's times in his life that he had to sleep. Jesus saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion only because they were like sheep, not having a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things. And when the day was far spent, his disciples came in and said, this is a deserted place, and already the hour is late. Send them away, that they may go into the surrounding country and villages and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat. But he answered them and said to them, give them something to eat. They said unto him, shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread, or give us something to eat? And he said to them, how many loaves have you? Go and see. When they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. And he commanded them to make them sit down in groups of the green grass. And so they sat down in the ranks of hundreds and fifties. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looked up to heaven and blessed and broke the loaves, he gave them to his disciples and set them before them. And the 2 fish he divided among them all. So they all ate and were filled, and took up 12 baskets full of fragments of the fish. Now those who had eaten of the loaves were about 5,000 men. When Jesus came out of the ship, and he was trying to get some rest, and he looked out of the ship, and he came out, and there was a lot of people there. He was moved with compassion upon them. And he didn't say, I don't have time. He didn't say I was too tired. He didn't say I got the yard to cut. He didn't say there's all kinds of things I got to do. He just simply said he began to teach them in verse 34. In verse 34, he began to teach them. I'll get there in just a second. And Jesus, when he came out, he saw a great multitude moved with compassion because the sheep without shepherd, so he began to teach them many things. Church, can I just share with you a thing? When we're on assignment, when you're on assignment from God, you can't allow yourself to be distracted by the demoniac in the tombs. You can't allow yourself to be distracted by the waves. You can't allow yourself to be distracted as it looks like the ship is filling up with water and you're walking around knee-deep in water. You can't allow yourself to be distracted. You can't allow yourself to be distracted when you don't feel like Jesus cares and he's asleep on a pillow. And you say, Jesus, you don't even care what I'm going through. Yes, he does care what you're going through, but his assignment was to go to the other side. His assignment was to go get some rest. His assignment was to go somewhere else. And you're so worried about what Jesus isn't doing, you forget about what Jesus is doing. You forget about that there are ships with you. There's somebody with you. Don't get so distracted with everybody else's business that you forget about what God has called you to do. Don't get so distracted because you look at somebody and say, you know what? I have a better ship than I've got. But God has called me into greater, so I'm going to get a greater ship than them. Listen, don't get distracted by looking at the ships. Don't get distracted by worrying about everything else that's going on in your life. Don't get distracted. What has God called you to do? Where has God called you to be? And where is God taking you? The day was well spent. The disciples wanted to send the problems, the people away. It's easy to send the people away because they're problems. They did not see them as lost sheep. They saw them. They saw them simply as a problem. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with these people? Because, listen, I don't have enough food to feed these people. What are we going to do with these people? Come on, help me somebody. What are we going to do? Are you alive today? Come on, is there anything inside of you just jumping inside of you saying, I've got to do something different because God has called me to an assignment and I'm letting all these things distract me? I'm letting all these people distract me. I'm letting all this stuff distract me from the cause that God has called me for, the assignment that God has called me to. They didn't see them as lost sheep. They saw them as people messing up their vacation. We're supposed to be over here resting, and this multitude of people show up. Great. Great. Jesus said, give them to eat. They were thinking physically. I don't have anything to give them to eat. But Jesus was thinking of their soul. Jesus had a different vision than the disciples. Jesus had a different plan than the disciples. Jesus had something different in mind than the disciples. Jesus knew what the assignment was. He knew where he was supposed to be going and what he was supposed to be doing. Jesus said to them, give them to eat. They were thinking physically. Jesus was thinking of their souls. Differing vision of people. Jesus supplies the food for the people. How many loaves do you have? What do you possess? You have to look to find what you possess. You have to look and see what it is that you have in your arsenal. But here's the trick, guys. When you're distracted and you rode against the wind and you're worried about the winds and the waves and you haven't slept at all during the night, when you haven't gotten any rest because you don't have any peace, and you try to do the will of God, you know what happens? You begin to just absolutely decay and crumble and crack, and the devil's got you because you have no strength, because you have no faith, because you don't know what your assignment is. Help me somebody today, please. I need somebody to help me. If you don't know what your assignment is, you won't know when it's completed. You continually just work and work and work and work and work. It doesn't seem like anything's getting done in your life. It's because you don't know what the assignment is. Jesus asked, what do you possess? They said, we don't know. Jesus told them to go look. He came back with 5 loaves and 2 fish. And Jesus gave the people the best seats in the desert, on the grass. Jesus didn't call us to comfort. He called us to service. I think it's amazing that Jesus did everything he could to have the people comfortable and the disciples uncomfortable. The disciples are the one that had to go find out how much food they had. So Peter went and beat up a kid and took his lunch. You preach it your way. Does it say okay? I'm pretty sure that Peter was probably already mad. They're lucky they didn't cut him. So Peter came back with a lunch, it's 5 loaves and 2 fish. I said, this is all we got. Jesus said, this is all I asked for is what do you have? He called us to serve. I've been around church a long time, and I've been around church people a long time. I've been around a lot of people that quote-unquote Christian people and leaders and all that stuff. And when they're leaders, they forget. The reason they're leaders is because they got there by serving. If you politic for a position, you have to politic to keep the position. But when God places you in a position, nobody can move you. And you learn how to be in a position by learning how to serve. If you can't serve, you're not fit to lead. You have to be able to serve God's people. You have to be able to serve God's people. You've got to be able to have them sit down in the green grass while you walk around feeding them. Now hang on just a minute. Now Brother Jeff, now I understand what you're saying, but there's also times of refreshing. I didn't say there weren't times of refreshing. But what's the assignment? What's the assignment? Is the assignment to get a group of people together so that you can go play golf 3 times a week? You don't have to actually work at anything. Everything just runs smoothly. You don't have to actually fight and do anything to fight the devil and try to take enemy-held territory. Is that the assignment? No, not to me. It's not. To me, that's not the assignment. The assignment to me is not to be incestuous and hang around nobody but preachers. Preachers are weird. You ever been around a group of preachers? First thing they ever ask. First thing they ask everybody, this. How many did you have Sunday? And you know what they answer? They lie. Oh, we had 207. Yeah, if you combine all 3 services, you have 207. Because we want to measure our assignment by the amount of fannies in the seats. Because we're afraid if we don't measure up with people, they'll look at us like, well, I had 205, and they only had 60. Yeah, that's great. Preachers are weird. And if you hang around nothing but preachers, you get weird. Is it okay if I'm honest?
Yeah.
Yes. Preachers don't, most preachers I know don't want you to know they're just real guys and girls. They have the same struggles. They have crazy Aunt Jane too. They got crazy people in their family just like you have. They have to deal with their mother getting older just like you do. See, the stuff that I don't tweet out is stuff, or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, is when I have to go clean my mother's house because she can't do it anymore. When I have to go make sure that she's taking her pills correctly, which she never does. When I have to make sure that she's eating because she won't eat candy bars. That's real good for a diabetic. Sit there and eat some candy bars, Mom. That'll make you feel better. Yeah, that's great. It's bad when you have to be the parent to your mom and say, quit doing that. And they get offended at you because I'm just her dumb kid. See, that's the stuff we don't put on Facebook. But that's the stuff that's reality. See, we don't put that stuff out where you have to actually live life. Because that's the stuff that gets us distracted from our assignment. How many know who Stephen Furtick is? You ever heard of Stephen Furtick? See, the things you don't know about Stephen Furtick. You didn't know that his dad died of ALS. And as his dad was dying, they had him on so much albuterol that he didn't know. And he pulled a gun. And Stephen Furtick had to throw him out of his own house. See, he didn't tweet that. That wasn't in Elevation Revival last year. It took him, I heard him testify about this the other day. When he was 33 years old, he wrote down 33 things because he couldn't talk to his dad anymore. They had the police called and all this stuff because his dad pulled a gun out and was going to shoot his mom, and so he was just drugged up, man. And Stephen he hired 3 nurses. He fired his dad hired all 3 of them. He said, "Dad, you got to have some help." He said, "I didn't know if I was going to get to spend the last moments of my dad's life with him because I couldn't talk to my dad. I had so much hatred in my heart for him at that time." So at 33 years old, he wrote down 33 things that his dad meant to him in each year of his life. He said, "I couldn't even talk to him, so I just knocked on the door, he opened the door, I shoved it in his chest, and I walked away." He said, "Then my dad, I could call him, I could talk for 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and 15 minutes. See, that's the stuff that's not published out there. That's just real life."
Amen.
He said he was blessed that when his dad passed away that he was able to be singing songs to him. They thought his dad was going to pass away, so he ran from church and he got his guitar and was singing old hymns. He said, "I ran out of hymns he knew." It took his dad 3 days to finally pass. He said, "I had to reach way back, and by the end of the 3 days I was playing Nirvana." I didn't know what the rest of the play. But he got to be there when his dad passed. He got the restoration. See, that's the stuff that's not put out there for everybody to see because that doesn't draw people. Because when preachers are real people, not superheroes and not invincible, when we're just guys with families, we're still human, we're still flesh, we're still human beings, and we're still trying to do the best we can do. All we're trying to do is keep your carcass from hell. You know? We're trying to keep you out of hell. We're trying to keep ourselves and our family out of hell. And when we don't do that and when we get distracted, we get so distracted by life that sometimes we get off assignment. And I think it's so interesting to me that Jesus would make the disciples understand that life happens, and then while life is happening, you're still on assignment. And when you're still on assignment, the people come first. And they make them to sit down in the comfortable places, and you serve them. Even when you're tired. Even when you're frustrated. Even when you don't have any other thing to do but just say, "God, I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm going to do it anyway. God, I don't understand this assignment. I don't like this assignment. I don't want to preach this message. I don't want to stand in the pulpit today. I don't want to go to church today. Anybody ever been there? I don't want to go to church on Wednesday night. I don't want to go to church on Sunday night. Listen, there's times in your life that you don't want to do what God's called you to do, because our flesh would say it would sure be a lot easier to lay on this couch and watch television. And I don't even know what comes on television on Sunday nights. I haven't been home. But listen to me. I don't know what comes on, but whatever is on. How much easier it would be just to lay there and then the lazy boy go boom, 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 boom. And then ask, "Why is my family crazy?" Huh? It's a mystery. You know, when your kids start laying out of church, it's too late. You should have started praying before they started laying out. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying what I've seen. Got an 18-year-old son going to go to Tishomingo. I don't have control over him anymore. Whether he goes to church or not, it's going to be on him. Not me. But his dad and mom pray for him. We didn't start praying for him this month.
Right.
It wasn't 2 months ago we said, "You know, we really started to start praying for our son." No! When he was born, God made him a leader, not a follower. Let him make good decisions, not bad ones.
Amen.
God bless him in everything that he lays his hand to do.
Amen.
How blessed it is to see my daughter her leading worship.
Amen.
Watch Matthew playing drums.
Thank you, Jesus.
Watch Jamie playing the bass. And listen to my daughter behind me singing, although she's too much of a chicken to stand up here and sing. Listen to Daily Ann sing, although she's too much of a chicken to stand up here and sing.
Preach, preacher.
I am.
Bring it.
What a blessing that is.
Yes, God.
Jesus supplied the food for the people. Jesus didn't ask you to supply the food. He just asked you to get him from point A to point B.
Yeah.
See, I gotta say this correctly. We so much get caught up to that. It's our job to let Jesus do what Jesus does. No. I'm just simply carrying him from point A to point B. I'm just simply telling you what Jesus does. Now, what you do with him is up to you. I can't make you love God. I can't. That's not my position. That's not my job. My job is to simply say, this is what Jesus does. This is who Jesus is. Now, what are you going to do with him? What are you going to do with him? Can I say something? I probably said this horribly. I'm not saying if your child is not in church, it's your fault. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to pray for them before.
Amen.
I didn't say quit praying for them now. Well, let's do it later. Not church. I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth. It's time to pray for them now because God's going to get hold of their life. Because listen, I believe that with all my heart. That God is a prayer answering God, especially to mamas and daddies who hang on to him. I believe that with all my heart. There's not anybody in here right now that I can say that they don't have a child that's gone crazy a little bit. Hear me. But don't you give up praying for them. Don't you ever stop. Don't you stop and say, well, they're just going to hell. No. Hang on to God's promise for your family.
Amen.
Hang on to that promise. Don't you, honestly, I don't care how deep they go into sin. Hang on.
Amen.
Don't allow the devil to come to you and say and distract you and get you to say, well, it doesn't even matter. I'm just going to turn it over to the devil. Don't do that. Pray that God change their life.
Amen.
Pray that God get hold of their life. Let them see you be different.
Yes.
You know what doesn't help? Is when you proclaim one thing and live something else. When you proclaim Christianity, but you do everything you can to cheat and steal and lie to get it over on somebody. Oh, it got quiet now. That shouted me real good when I was talking about your kids being saved. When they see you claim Christianity, but they see you mad all the time. Oh, joy unspeakable, I hate that song. Come on now. Claim Christianity, but live it loose. Boy, it got quiet up in here now.
Amen.
Just want to push that envelope as close as we can get to the edge. How many glasses of wine can I have before it's sin? How about don't take any? Don't touch any unclean thing.
Amen.
How about we just don't do that?
Amen.
Why is it so important to get so close to sin? Why is it so important to us? Look, Jesus drank wine. Yeah, I understand that. Jesus was Jesus and you ain't him.
Right.
Why is it so important to us to see what we can do before we fall into sin? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I was raised different than that. I was taught different than that in this church. say before sin?
Amen.
Come on, help me. I'm just asking because evidently that's the new Christian thing to do. I just don't understand it. How can we get so close? Why is it that we want to see how close we can get to sin, but we don't want to see how close we can get to God because that's scary? What? Well, we are quiet up in here now. That's Presbyterian Church rocking. All right, great. Awesome. Jesus divided the people into groups so that people could be handled. I hear all the time, I don't know why there's so many churches. Can you imagine if there was one church with 6,500 people in it? Would nobody get served? Just a select few. So Jesus has people, it's the same thing. We're just broken up into groups. And I know some people get all mad about whether you have music or whether you don't have music or whether you believe in speaking in tongues or not speaking in tongues. And I don't know. Should non-members, I saw some marquee on that stinking church, that Church of Christ. Should non-members be able to take communion? Why do you care? The Bible simply says, if you take it unworthily, you're going to get sick and die. So don't take it unworthily. Why do you care? I don't understand. Why? Never mind, I'll go on. Is it okay if I just go on? Because y'all ready to show up and I'm not ready to show up. I'm trying to help. I can't tell, but I'm trying to help. There's just questions I have as a pastor. How much lying is okay?
None.
Okay. Well, at least we know the right answer. Okay. I just don't get it. No, I just don't get it. I'm just, I said preachers are weird. I know I'm weird. I just don't understand the whole concept of sin as by default. I wasn't called into sin. I was called out of sin.
Amen.
Come on, man.
Amen.
He delivered me. Why would I go back and see how close I can get? If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, if you're not into health food and you have half a brain. I don't know. Some of y'all don't know that's a song. It's a song. Okay? When he had taken the loaves, Jesus took the loaves and he took the disciples and he gave them to them. Y'all okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
When they brought Jesus the loaves, he gave people the best of the seats to sit in. We've got to learn how to serve God's people. He divided people into groups that each disciple could handle. He made the crowd smaller to serve them better. Now I want you to get a visual of this. How many people are here tonight? 60? Whatever. 66? I was close. 67? I was close. Okay. 60. This keeps going up as I'm talking. Great. Okay, listen. All right, so I couldn't get 50 of you guys to sit in one place in the next 15 minutes. And there was 5,000. Well, I want to sit on the altar. Well, I want to sit on the ground. Can I sit on the stage? Can I sit? Just sit out! I need 50 of you to sit down. Well, can she come sit with me? That makes 59. But can she come sit with me? No! I need 50 to sit down. How come she gets to have it, but I can't have this sit by me? And so, you couldn't get 5,000 people to sit down in 2 hours. But Jesus did it somehow. Had groups of 50s, groups of hundreds. And they brought him the loaves and the fish. So now all of a sudden, the crowd that had nothing, they're sitting in groups of 50, and the disciples bring 5 loaves and 2 fish and say, good luck. You got to have some mad groups up in here. Because the first 50 are going to get to eat, the rest of them get to watch. But Jesus, when he took what the disciples gave him. It's 6:41, Mark 6:41. Oh, my Bible went off. 6:41. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and blessed and broke the loaves and gave them to his disciples to set before them. And the 2 fish he divided among them all. Jesus didn't serve them. Jesus served the disciples. The disciples served the people. Jesus blessed the bread, gave it to the disciples, said, go give them something to eat. Jesus took the fish, blessed it, and said, okay, here's your part, your part, your part, your part. Go feed the people. So without you knowing that, listen, without anybody understanding this, I want you to get this in your mind. That the assignment was, number 1, in Mark chapter 4, to go across to the other side. That's fine, we got it. Yep. Mark chapter 4, we got it. We went, they got distracted by the waves of the sea, they got distracted by the ships, they got distracted by Jesus, they got distracted by everything else. But they made it because Jesus said, peace be still, why are you all like you are? And went back and laid back down. Okay? The whole time, Jesus is getting rest because he needs to have his strength. In chapter 6, they go across. The disciples are still tired. Jesus is now tired from having to deal with the demoniac and the people that are like pigs when they're like people. And so they now go to the other side again. And here's the assignment again. There's more people to deal with. The disciples had an assignment which was to go with Jesus, be with Jesus, learn from Jesus. But when they got to that side again and the people were there, you can almost hear it in Scripture. You can almost hear the moan of the disciples going, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What do we have to do to get away from everybody? We got in a boat and went across the whole stinking sea. And here you still are. Go home. Something the disciples were saying. Jesus, tell them to go home. Jesus said, no, I don't think I will. You can almost hear the sigh of, well then, you better feed them something. Because we don't have anything to feed them. You can almost hear it. You can almost hear Peter's disgust. You mean we got to feed all these? Now, I want you to understand, 5,000 people? That's just men counted. That's not the women and the children, because they didn't count them, because they didn't count. Okay, you're looking at 8,000 to 10,000 people, 10,000. And you're looking at it going, I got to feed all these people before the sun goes down? Okay. You got it. They got distracted by not having any food. They got distracted by not having enough food. They got distracted by the end of the day. They got distracted by there being so many people. They got distracted. The assignment was to take Jesus over to the other side and let Jesus do what Jesus does. The assignment was that. But they got distracted in everything else. Last thing, and I'll leave you alone. After they accomplished the assignment of taking Jesus to the other side again, then Jesus gave them another assignment. What was that? Feed them. Feed them. So when Jesus said to feed them, then all of a sudden they got distracted again, Sister Heike. Well, what are we going to feed them? We don't have anything to feed them. Distraction again. Number 2 distraction. There's so many of them. What are we going to do? We don't have any place to put these people. Distraction number 3. Jesus, I know you said feed them, but there are so many of them. How do we organize this? And I think it's so cool that Jesus came and said, listen, here's what you're going to do. You're going to set them down. You're going to feed them yourself. He gave the disciples back the bread, and he sat back down and guided the disciples. Everyone in the crowd received part of a miracle.
Amen.
No one in the crowd left hungry. No one left with a need they had before. The one who gave of what he had was blessed abundantly. In 6:43, the young man who gave the 5 loaves and 2 fishes got 12 basketfuls to take home. That's a pretty good miracle. And the thing we never think about is that mom who packed the lunch. You know, some dad didn't think about some loaves and fish. Okay, be home when the street lights come on. Be careful. We didn't think of it. Didn't nobody think about that? That man, that boy's mom, I thought about him. He gave him bread and fish. Good luck. And it had been for that mama, everybody would have started. Wrap it up. Are you bringing to Jesus what he asked for? What do you mean? Are you doing for Jesus what he asked you to do? Are you taking Jesus to the other side, or are you getting distracted by all the ships and the waves and the water? Are you getting distracted by the wind? And even if you make it to the other side, are you so exhausted because you fought everything that you thought was in your way? You're so exhausted by the end of the day that you can't even really minister to anybody because you're so tired. Your spirit's tired. You fought against the wave. You fought against the wind. You fought against the water. You fought against doubt. You fought against, you don't think Jesus cares anything about you. You thought you got all distracted by the ships on the other side. You don't know anything that's going on. And you're so stinking tired that your brain hurts. Nobody's ever been there. Are you bringing Jesus what he asked for? He's asked you to bring what you have. But you have to be honest about what you have.
Amen.
What do you mean by that? The little boy could have said, I got a fish, and he could have said, I got 1 fish and 1. There you go. That's what I got. But I still think Peter beat him up, took his lunch. Because he snatched it. Okay? And so he took it, and he had 5 loaves and 2 fish. He was honest with what he had. Are you honest with what you have? Or do you hold something back because you know Jesus will require that of you? It's like those folks when I used to grow up, and when I was growing up, they used to say, like, we didn't have any money at all. We had savings accounts and stuff. Never really knew what it was like to not have any money at all. They had reserve. Have you ever been to a place where you didn't have any money at all? When you were hoping they didn't put the check through because you'd already written it? Come on now, help me. Back in the days when you could float checks but they didn't instantly come out. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just telling the truth. Okay, so. But if I tell God I have this in reserve, he may require it of me. He already knows you have it. He already knows you're lying about it. So why hold it in reserve? Whatever you have. What do you have? I've got 5 loaves and 2 fish. Okay, that's good. Listen. So we should be honest. Be honest. Be honest with Jesus. You may not have anything but a praise to give him, but give him the best praise. When he asks you what you have, just simply say, I don't have anything, but I got to praise. I've got to shout. If that's all you have, bring it with pure motive and an honest heart. When the people came to see Jesus in the desert, they didn't know to be part of one of the greatest miracles ever seen. They were just hungry to be with him. They didn't know they were going to be hungry for a fish sandwich. They only wanted to be in the presence of Jesus. They didn't know what was going to happen in their lives. They didn't know what the turn of events were going to be. They had no idea. I had no idea. Listen, I said some things today that I'm sure somebody got offended about. Don't care. I do care. I don't want you to be offended, but I don't care what the Word of God says offends you. Because I hope it does. I hope it cuts into your heart. Can we leave the sin alone and quit playing with it? It's like taking just a little bit of poison. Leave it. Leave it. I can honestly tell you that we're not strong enough individuals to take care of everybody says, well, okay, let's put it this way. I've heard this preached, I've heard it said, and I don't know where it came from. Everything in moderation. That is not a scripture. That is not a scripture. That is somebody who made up something that everybody said, hey, yeah, let's do that. It's not a scripture. Hey, that preacher said everything in moderation. It's sweet. I can do what I want as long as it's in moderation. No. You can't. You can't. I'm talking about real life stuff, man. I'm talking about living a Christian life that goes above and beyond. A real Christian life that is a city set on a hill that can't be hid, that didn't want to be. A light to the world. Someone who says something and they do it. They don't try to live for God, they live for God. With everything in them. Doesn't mean they don't fall, doesn't mean they don't fail. It means they live for God. I can honestly tell you there's not anybody in the Bible other than Jesus that didn't do something stupid. He's the only one that didn't do anything stupid. I love the way they portrayed that in the play. The Hall of Faith, and they showed all the men Joshua, and they showed all the men that had fallen short, but Jesus was the only one who never fell short. We've all fallen short. But that doesn't give us right to say, well, I'm just human. No, you're not. What do you mean? The Bible says when you come to Him, that He makes you a new creature, a new creation, a new creature. Something from heaven mingles with something from earth and makes something that has never been here before. Is called being born again. You're not simply human. You have a human body with a supernatural spirit. A different creature that has ever been on this planet before. When I say yes to Jesus, something changes inside of me. I'm not like I used to be. I'm born again. I don't follow the same path I used to follow. And if you do, maybe you've gotten hold of the wrong thing. Because you can't follow after Jesus and follow your own path. You just can't. I'm sorry if that burst your bubble, and I'm sorry if that makes you upset. I'm sorry. But I can't live for Him and do what I want to do all the time. As Paul said, when I want to do good, I do evil. When I do evil, I do good. It was so messed up. Struggled with it himself. So many times we struggle with it ourselves, and we make excuses as, well, I'm just human. Not really. Not really. There's something from two different worlds. If you've been born again, Spirit of God, flesh of earth. Two different worlds. Come on, man. You look like your mom and dad, but then your spirit looks like God. Amen? Come on, help me. God is a what? Spirit. He must be worshipped how? The Spirit and the truth. What's a spirit look like? I don't know. I can't see a spirit. Can't see a spirit. You can see the rocket chair move. That's all. And so listen. I'm wrapping up. Wrapping up. What is it that keeps us from just saying, okay, Jesus said go to the other side. He's asleep. Everything must be good. Hey, Jesus, scoot over. Can I share some of that pillow with you? Because if he says it's going to be all right, we need to rest in what's going to be all right.
Amen.
Is he going to let you die in the assignment? I don't think so. I don't think so. We need to learn how to praise in the problem. What's the devil going to do with somebody when he brings problems and you say, awesome. You must be keeping me from my assignment, which must be a great, awesome assignment if the winds and the waves are filling up the boat. But Jesus is okay with it. Because I don't know about you, but Jesus fights for me. And when he comes and he gets up and I get out of the way, he fights for me. But if he's asleep in the back of the boat, I need to chill. Because evidently, it's all right. He's not going to let me die. He's not going to let me struggle all the rest of my life. I'm going to get to the other side. When I get to the other side, he's going to get up off that pillow and we're going to get busy. Amen? I need to just share with you just for a little bit tonight. I didn't keep you long. It's only 7:30. 7:40. Keep you long. Guys, I'm a simple preacher. I'm a Pentecostal preacher. I don't know how to preach anything other than leave sin alone, because it'll kill your spirit, it'll kill your life. I don't know how else to preach other than that about sin. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. I don't care how bad you think you are. Don't touch it. I don't care how tough you think you are, how spiritual you are, how holy you are. Whatever. Leave it alone. I don't know how to preach it other than that. I don't know how to preach it other than pick up your cross daily and follow after him, and he'll take you to the other side. That's all I know how to. I'm very simple. I'm very simple. Follow him. And he'll take you places you've never gone, you've never even dreamed. He'll take you to places that you can't even fathom or imagine. Or don't. And the devil will take you to the same places. What are you talking about, same places? Places you never thought you would be. The depths of hell that your life could be in because you won't leave stuff alone. You keep playing with it. Keep making an excuse. Well, that's just my redheaded temper. No, it's sin. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Have faith in the assignment. What's the assignment? Take Jesus to the other side. Stand to your feet with me. I'll leave you alone.